Hi and welcome to another edition of Onside SA, where we're going to talk about last one standing. It's down to 10 left out of 18, but 8 went and some just scraped through.
Yeah, Newcastle squeaked in, Paul. There was four entries on that, so the guys were gloating afterwards, but
so
very
Spurs
nervous.
and Newcastle took the gang through.
Yeah.
Let's just have a quick touch on who's left in here. And Powers has still got 2.
Powers 1 and 2. He's now the favourite. He's taken over because of the number of picks. Yeah.
Anthony Sewer, Guillaume Nel, Paddy Loca. There's a Gold Circle influence here.
Yeah.
Dylan Horn.
Yeah.
John Biscoby, Mark McManus. Who's this? Luke Bowman.
Luke, Mark's son.
And Emerson V.
Emerson Verithia, yeah.
Okay, so I see 2 of them have already picked.
Well, Anthony Sir Semi had Leicester to pick, and after the destruction of Aston Villa, he had that, so it was his trump card, whereas...
So this week he's going for them?
Yeah.
And I see Man City for Dylan Horn.
Yep, Dylan's got them to play, so why wait another week, Paul?
Yeah, try and cut it down a bit. Okay, it'll be interesting to see who the guys come with.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them will be... Man United's a trick. A lot of the guys have used the top teams now. They're going to use Man United or look for a wild card.
Yeah. It could be a draw. All right, let's get Stevie B on the line. Stevie B's in the London studio. Steve, can you hear us?
I can. Good morning.
Morning. How are you? Freezing?
Freezing, absolutely. But 0 degrees when I left early this morning.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sure, dark and cold. But you're in the office. You got your tea.
I am. Yep. Nice and cozy now.
Nice and cozy. Let's start off with the Champions League results. And Liverpool got through. Did you watch that game, Steve? I watched it.
I did, yeah.
Salzburg, good side.
It was a very, very entertaining game.
Yeah.
I thought that, Salzburg played well. First sort of half an hour, I mean, they created a few chances. But once Liverpool sort of weathered the storm, and actually, they could have had a hatful of goals. Liverpool, really. I mean, it was almost like the way Salzburg play is like kids at school. Everybody wants to rush forward, and they leave nobody in defence.
Yeah.
And the goalkeeper, you sort of makes you wonder if he looks back at that and and thinks, why he came rushing out.
He came rushing out for both those goals.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They were good value, Liverpool, and actually, obviously it was a group that they had to get a result, and definitely worthy of it.
Yeah.
Steve, I watched the Inter Milan-Barcelona game. If ever a team was unlucky, it was Inter Milan. I think they had 4 disallowed goals.
Oh, well, again, that was a group that you thought beforehand that Inter could have gone through, and Dortmund have sort of come up, stuck up behind them, and pinched that second spot.
Yeah.
And Chelsea won, eh?
Yeah, Chelsea won 2-1. I didn't watch that. But apparently it was comfortable, Steve. Did you see that?
Yeah, it was certainly at 2-0. They were very comfortable, and then Lille scored sort of towards the end, and I wouldn't say they were hanging on, but they were probably a little bit nervous. Having said that, especially as the other game, I mean, Valencia were winning, which I think surprised everybody. Had Ajax have got a point, then if Lille would have scored, Chelsea could have got out. But I guess the shock there is Ajax went from first to third, and find themselves, last year's semi-finalist. Everyone's sort of dark horse, and here they are now in the Europa League.
Yeah, I watched a lot of that game, Steve, and in fairness, Frankie de Jong going and the centre-half De Ligt going, they're not the same team.
No, absolutely, and I think they recognise that because they just the way of sort of finances in Dutch football, they have to sell to survive. But having said, even so, I guess they look back at that Chelsea game when they were 4-1 up, and they've obviously sort of missed the.
Steve, are you there? Looks like we might just have lost Steve for the moment. We'll check if we can get him back on the line. Yeah, it looks like Steve's gone. We've lost the connection there.
Lost the connection. I'm sure the guys will try. But I agree. Ajax 4-1 up against Chelsea, 2 red cards, stupidly, and in the Europa League.
Cost him. How about Wednesday? We'll get back onto Steve in a moment.
I watched. You watched Spurs.
I watched all the games.
Yeah.
The English teams. Tottenham outclassed. They threw all their youngsters and they played a lot of young guys. And for moments they crept back into it at 1-1, but Dyer was completely found out. They were too pacey around the middle.
Yeah.
Eriksen struggled with his passing game. He just hasn't got back to that level
Yeah,
anymore.
I think his mind's elsewhere, and the harder he's trying, Paul, it's not easy. When you're in form, carry on playing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the contract.
That's right. The guys that are bringing back from breaks, Dyer and Eriksson, aren't first-team choices, and they're not playing that well. You know, I see he threw in Wanyama, he threw in Ollie Schiff. I thought he was going to throw in Troy Parrott, but he didn't. You know, gave Lacelso a bit of time out there.
Well, Paul, you know, this is hard. You know, Bayern don't get beat too often at the Allianz Arena, and
they played all their players except Lewandowski. They set him out. You know. And they played well. They had a serious injury to the guy who got the goal. And I believe, Steve, are you back on the line?
I am, yeah. I think that you forgot to put 50 pence or 50 rand in the meter.
But Budge does the meter.
I does the meter reading, yeah.
Steve, we're just talking about Tottenham, how I obviously watch every moment they play.
Yeah, look, I mean, indeed. But I mean, they obviously, made a point of resting key players, and it was an opportunity for, some of the fringe players. And obviously, Ryan Sessegnon got his name on the score sheet and evidently played very well. So I think it was a dead rubber. They got, there was no point risking their best players. So I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And then Man City went 1-0 down and then steamrolled their way through.
I mean, look, City have got a strong squad, and I think that with the way some of their results have been recently, it's probably not a bad thing for them to put a to have a strong side and win convincingly, which they did. They didn't need to, but they put out a strong side, and I think that was maybe good for their confidence because they've obviously had a bit of a wobble recently.
Yeah. They cruise. The other team that was hard-fought game, Trippier played. I didn't think they would play. Atletico Madrid, they went through as well, Steve. Beat Lokomotiv.
Yeah, I saw that. It's, so I mean, look, when you look at who's in the last 16, the big names are all there, aren't they? And the draw is going to be made shortly.
I think it's Monday.
Is it Monday?
Monday. Yeah. And then, so they've already said, teams can't play a team from their own country, so there's sort of they've already said like Tottenham, are going to be faced with like either Barcelona. They've actually, it depends if they look at that and think like they really want to avoid Barcelona, they could get
PSG,
Leipzig, PSG. They probably want to avoid Leipzig or Valencia. I guess might be the best bet for them. But it's exciting, and it's good to see again 4 English clubs into the last 16 and avoid each other. So if they get sort of a decent draw, you could get maybe 2-3 of them through.
Yeah. Who do you fancy to win it, Steve?
Yeah, Steve, the betting's out. Budgie's managed to dig up the betting. Who do you fancy to win it?
We say this every year. At the beginning of the season, I thought that City were going to have it's the one title that sort of eluded them, but I just think the way they're playing, you just don't know. Barcelona are always hard to beat. You just wonder if this is, again, PSG. It's all or nothing for them, isn't it? With the Champions League.
We're all leaning towards that, Steve. We're all leaning
7-1 PSG, Steve. That's my team. And I've already told you, Inter Milan for the Europa League. That's 7-1 as well, so I'll be into that. But I agree. I think they do, aren't they, PSG?
Yeah, I think so, and I think if they don't do it this time round, then it just sort of makes you wonder whether, the sort of the Neymars of this world might be thinking, well, he wants to sort of finish his career playing a little bit more competitively than sort of winning easily in the French league every week. So we'll see. No, I guess it'd be interesting to see the draw because obviously that can throw out sort of 1 or 2 surprises. But you do expect the big teams to be going through.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, on to Napoli, one of the teams that went through. They fired Carlo Ancelotti. Was it after the game or was it the day after?
It was on Tuesday, so I'm not sure it was after, but it was on Tuesday. Look, there's been a lot of unrest at Napoli. Really has been there between the fans, the club.
Did they qualify?
It's so, but he wasn't there long. He wasn't at Bayern that long. And the fact that he's now being linked potentially with either Everton or Arsenal, you just wonder whether or not the press are just sort of jumping to foregone conclusion. There is a little bit, at the moment, people aren't sure whether he's actually been sacked or he's been put onto gardening leave and he's still actually on the payroll, as it were, because that will determine whether or not someone like Everton or Arsenal, if they were to go for him, would actually be able to just negotiate with him, or they're actually going to buy out his contract from Napoli. That hasn't come out yet. I was reading that late last night, so that might determine whether or not either of those would be prepared to pay many millions to get him. Yeah. I'm not sure necessarily. He hasn't covered himself in glory in the last couple of sort of jobs. So he is favourite with the bookies for the Arsenal job.
Oh.
I've heard, Steve, that Carlo Ancelotti has been studying English so he can tell Arsenal to jump in the bay.
Well, look, he still owns a house in London from when he was at Chelsea, but he knows the Premier League. The other sort of managers being touted around, and evidently he turned down Everton, is Vitor Pereira. And they're saying that Arsenal might go after him. To me, this, he's got a bit of a pedigree, but he's never coached in the Premier League. He's been out in China. He was in Saudi Arabia before that, even though years before he was at Porto and Olympiacos, got a good pedigree. But, he doesn't know the Premier League. And I just think, both clubs need to be a little bit careful, jumping into getting somebody who doesn't know the Premier League. Because, a team like Everton, Duncan Ferguson, obviously last Saturday, knows exactly what is needed, and he certainly got the best out of them. And someone like Freddie Ljungberg as well, who's been in and around the Premier League for many years. So the other person who is really heavily fancied for Arsenal potentially is Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
So that's, I think he's sort of installed as second favourite. So I don't think either team needs a rush. I think they've got. With Duncan Ferguson, they've got a safe pair of hands for a while, and again, if he can get Everton playing with the same sort of passion as he did last Saturday, then I think they'll be fine. And Ljungberg certainly got things going in the second half at the London Stadium. I thought Arsenal played very well in the last 30 minutes, and he just makes you wonder where that Arsenal's been for the last couple of months.
Yeah, Steve, Chelsea had their transfer ban lifted. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, and they're going to be linked with a lot of players. But I wouldn't be two things. I don't think Frank Lampard is going to rush out and want to buy lots of players. I don't think he wants to change the balance of the team too much, because he's got these young players that have come through and have really performed. I think they will want to bring in. They're talking about a very strong left back. I think they seem to feel that that's an area that's a little bit weak. Yeah. I wouldn't be at all surprised they go out and they will try and bring one marquee signing in just to sort of let everybody know that they're back in business. And I think if they did that and or one or two good players, then I think that would certainly consolidate their top four position this season.
Yeah. Steve, on to the games this week. How do you see Burnley going at home against Newcastle?
Well, Burnley, up till a few weeks ago, had a good run, and you'd have thought, well, they're strong, but they've had some shocking, heavy defeats recently, not least sort of 5-0 last weekend. And Newcastle, for all of the criticism of Steve Bruce, he's got them getting results. They won again last week. Hadn't lost at home since the opening day of the season. I think there'll be a tight game. I think Burnley, Sean Dyche will want a reaction, but I'm not sure they'll beat Newcastle. I think it'll be a tight game.
All right. Now, the next manager to be fired is Pellegrini, according to the bookmakers. You think he can get something at Southampton?
Well, I think, this is a critical game. West Ham often play a little better away from home, as we know, and they did when they won at Chelsea. But, their form, they just completely went to pieces. Once Arsenal scored the equaliser, they were just non-existent, their defence. I think there's a bit of unrest at the club, and I think he's under a lot of pressure. And, Southampton, who looked sort of dead and buried a few weeks ago, have won their last two home games. If they beat West Ham, they're certainly going to be out of the bottom three, and West Ham could drop into it if Villa get a point. So I think that's a critical game. I fancy Southampton. I just think they've just got a little bit of momentum going.
Yeah. Now, Man United produced, for me, the result of the season, beating Man City away last week. Do you see it continue at home against Everton?
Well, I think they'll certainly be confident. I think that, I think they'd rather be playing Everton of a week ago or 2 weeks ago than the Everton that played on Saturday. I think that'd be a really good game. I thought both teams put up their sort of best performance of the season. United were sensational in that first half at City, the way they attacked. And I thought Everton were superb against Chelsea. They just didn't let them settle. In fact, there was a stat I read. They put in more tackles than any other Premier League team this season, which, I think that's the sort of Duncan, sort of Ferguson way. I think there'll be a tight game. I think if United can and sort of play with the sort of attacking sort of verve that they did last weekend, I think they might just edge that.
Yeah, I think it'll be end-to-end, plenty of goals. Now, how do you see Tottenham going to Molineux taking on Wolves? Can you see an upset there?
I think that's going to be a really good game. Again, Wolves have got a Europa game, and they do normally put out a strong team. Tottenham rested players. I think it'll be a really close game. I fancy Tottenham to get something there, whether they win or maybe get a point.
Yeah.
But I just think that they've got. I think Mourinho has obviously installed a bit more fight there. I think they will concede, and Wolves are strong, and they haven't lost so many games. But I think Tottenham are going to go there and possibly get a result.
Good boy, Steve.
All right, Steve, talking of results, can Man City get back to winning ways in the league at Arsenal?
I think they will. I think they'll be a little bit too strong. I think that although Arsenal played well in that second half, I think defensively they've still got issues. Yeah. And I think if City sort of play as they can do, I think that they'll win that. But it was, I think Arsenal fans will certainly be relieved that they got a win under their belt. But I just think City should be too strong.
Yeah, see, Mesut Ozil played in his favourite place, just behind the strikers.
Yeah, I think he's far too talented a player not to play. Yeah. And I when I watched in that second half, a lot of it all went through him. So I think that he's sort of back in the team, and it just makes sense. But I think defensively they've still got issues, and until they address that, they're going to concede goals. And against the really good teams, I think they will come unstuck still. But I think with a new manager and a little bit more belief there, I think they'll certainly sort of claw their way up the table. Whether they can get top four, remains to be seen yet.
All right, Steve, on to the championship. Sorry, your boys Fulham,
2-1
lost to Preston. I heard there was a bit of a physical game. We never had it on. I was hoping it would be on, but it wasn't.
Oh, no, I saw it. It was very physical. We had a player off. Yeah. Preston had a player sent off. Very lucky not to have had a second player sent off. They told me Pearson should have gone, yeah. He should have gone. But ultimately, defensively, we're just making too many mistakes and conceding goals. We can make excuses. Both teams have got injuries. We were hit with a sickness bug. Tom Kearney wasn't able to play, wasn't well enough. Joe Bryan wasn't well enough to start, but had to come on. Again, no excuses, but it does look now to me that we were sitting in third place, but now the gap between third and second is huge. Those top two are got quite a big bit of daylight now.
All right. How do you think you'll go on at Brentford?
I think this is a really tricky game. Yeah. I mean, they're playing some good football at home. They won last night, won the week before at home 7-0. It's not a good ground for us. I think if we got a point, I'd be very pleased with that.
Okay, now one team that has shown a little bit of fight, laddie, is Blackburn Rovers. They go to Bristol City. Can they get another result?
I think they can do. I think they could, certainly hold them. Bristol City won at Fulham last week. I mean, they rode their luck in the second half, but they lost at home to Millwall the other night. So they don't lose many, Bristol, but say Blackburn are making themselves sort of hard team to beat. I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they get a point out of that, Blackburn.
All right, now Derby at home are outstanding. Millwall, we've just mentioned, caused an upset in midweek. Can they cause another one?
Well, I think they're making themselves, as they did last year, they're making themselves very hard to beat Millwall. They had a really good result at Bristol. They're strong at home. You don't really know what's going to happen with Derby. As we say, they're strong at home, poor away. They're falling away at the moment, Derby. Yeah. I think they may just edge that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Millwall hold them.
Okay, another team that I always fancy, I've backed them many a time, is Notts Forest. They're slowly edging away too, Steve. Them at home against Sheffield Wednesday?
Well, I think that'll be a tight game. I mean, Wednesday are a hard team to beat, and I think that will be a very low-scoring game. I think it could go either way. Forest should be favourites, but they're struggling to put a run together at the moment. Yeah. I mean, they could have won at Millwall last week and got sort of pegged back with a last-minute goal. Yes. During the week, again, got pegged. I think that's going to be a very low-scoring game. If Forest don't edge it, it will be a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw.
Now, one team that can't bar results is Wigan. I saw the goalkeeper drinking the water last night. I can't believe what he did, and that cost them the game.
It did. Ultimately, they, from looking at the reports, they were all over West Brom in the first half, played really well, and were very unlucky not to win the game. They are strong at home though. So and Huddersfield have had a little bit of a wobble. I think that's a very close game. I mean, obviously Huddersfield have clawed their way out of the bottom three. Wigan are in trouble. I think that'll be a close game. I think that's probably got a draw, or maybe Huddersfield might actually go there and get a result.
Steve, I've got a couple of questions for you. The first one is, how many London sides are in the Championship, and is Reading considered a London side or not?
No, they're not considered a London side. So you're only really looking at Fulham, Millwall, QPR and Brentford.
What about the other team?
No, so Luton are not considered a London side.
Okay, I thought
you got Brentford, Fulham, Millwall, Charlton.
Charlton, 5. So
Five.
the
So keep up,
furthest north of the London teams is Watford. They classify Watford as a London team, but not Luton or Reading.
Okay. The second question and final question's got a big if to it. If you were still in the last one standing, who would you pick this week?
But it depends who I hadn't already used. I mean,
well, would you use Tottenham this week if you had the choice?
If I had nobody else, I would do. But then I'd put the jinx on it. If I hadn't used Leicester, I'd put Leicester. So I've got a feeling, if somebody hasn't used, say, Southampton.
Yeah.
And they've got an option. Yeah, and I heard that there's 10 left, so it's obviously getting pretty exciting.
Pretty tight, yeah.
Right, Stevie, I'll see you before you're on the air next week, I think, because I fly out next Wednesday. No, I won't go. I'll still be at the airport now, but I'll see you when I get over to the UK next week. Sometime.
Indeed, absolutely.
Lovely.
All right. Nice talking to you all.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks very much.
Bye.
All right, Budge, are we going to do Championship first?
No, Premiership.
Premiership first, because I see just my orders I've set down here.
Wrong.
Okay, let's start with
Liverpool, lunchtime kickoff, our time.
They're too good for Watford.
Should be too good for
At
Watford.
home.
At home, Paul. I looked at every avenue, to win both halves is 6-10, over 3.5. There's just and the way they're playing.
Let them go and be, because it's just
1-5.
Yeah.
If you've got big money, no problem. But won the last 15 at home.
Yeah.
Watford are dreadful.
Have they won the last 15 at home? That's incredible.
Haven't lost at home 43 games, Paul.
That's excellent.
No, it's a fortress now, Anfield. Yeah.
Okay, Burnley.
Now
this is interesting.
This is a big game.
Big game. Burnley going to be attacking, or Newcastle sound at the back?
Well, they play the 3 at the back. I think they are. I know against Southampton they got caught a few times, but I think Andy Carroll will play this one. He played against Sheffield United the week before, long ball. And
He's reserve goalie, isn't he?
Yeah, Andy Carroll, yeah. I think they get something here, Paul. Steve Bruce got them organised. Burnley have lost 6 of the last 8.
True.
That's not when they lose at home to Palace, there's a question mark. They will fight, but I think this got a draw written all over it, Paul.
Will Bournemouth be fighting hard? They have to.
Bournemouth are terrible. They cost us a bet last week. They never looked like scoring. They were dreadful. This should be how many? The only thing against us was the last time Chelsea played a Champions League game, they got beat by West Ham on the weekend. So you never know. But on what I've seen from Bournemouth, this is Chelsea all day.
Leicester should beat Norwich.
Guaranteed, Paul. Norwich have a go. That's the problem.
1 to 4, 1 to 5. How are these prices?
Well, on form, how do you go with Norwich?
Yeah, how do you go with them?
And Leicester have won the last 8. 9 of the last 10. The only team they lost to was Liverpool.
Who did Norwich lose to?
Norwich got beat at home, Sheffield United. That was a terrible result.
Yeah, they should have scored late.
Chances,
that's true. Yeah. Okay, Sheffield United doing very well. Top 10 side at 8th against Aston Villa, who have ability.
Yeah, they have ability. Just Tyrone Mings' injury. He pulled a hammy, stayed on, cost them the first goal. He's the key. If he's available, they've got a chance. But Sheffield United at home, Paul.
Good side, eh?
Yeah, they
even better away.
Better away. They don't lose away. They haven't lost away. It should be Sheffield United, but I think there's goals value there, Paul.
Yes,
because Villa always score.
Yeah.
And they always concede.
Southampton, West Ham. As you say, the boss at West Ham is under pressure.
I like him, Paul.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. He's a Chilean.
Has he won a Premier League?
Man City. He won the Spanish League as well.
Who else? Who's the boy they're trying to get to come to Everton or Arsenal?
Ancelotti.
Has he won a Premier League?
Yes, with Chelsea.
He won
the double and got fired a couple of weeks later. But they don't win the league. You ask Mourinho and Antonio Conte.
Yeah, all of them.
But I just got a funny feeling West Ham will get something, Paul. Every time this guy's under pressure, they squeak a result.
Pulls hat.
Southampton, I just think Noble, and they've got a lot of character in that team.
Yeah.
Noble, and a lot of English people. So it's time to roll the sleeves up. Southampton at home won't be easy, but... Yeah, the last 2 games, Paul, they were lucky to win. They beat Norwich, and then they beat Watford. There was a handball for the first goal. VAR missed it. But I think there's a draw written all over that game.
Man United are playing exceptionally well, but Everton really looked a tough side last time.
Now, the stat that I saw was they made more tackles in that game than the previous 5 seasons. So that obviously gives a credit to... But it's at home, lunchtime game, away from home, they're terrible, Paul. I think United will murder them if we've got our scoring boots on. But it should be an open game, Paul.
Open game, yeah. Open
8 to 10, over 2.5 goals all day, if you don't fancy United to win. But I do, I think United will win.
Tottenham have come off a defeat where they play, but just bear in mind they put 5 past Burnley. They're playing well, and Wolves always eke out a result. They always seem to. I thought they drew. Who did they draw?
They drew with Brighton.
Drew with Brighton. It was a tough game.
They were lucky. I think this is tailor-made for Spurs.
So do I.
A year ago, we were at your place watching Spurs. You were watching, I think, on Holly's phone. You won 3-2. I think Spurs are going to murder them. I've watched Wolves the last couple of games. They look a tired team.
They do,
and
Spurs,
they've got this
game coming up tonight.
Brighton, because Steve Potter and Guillaume Nel were on Wolves, so I watched the game and I backed them. But they never looked like winning.
No, I agree with you.
I
think this is a great chance.
Great game for Spurs
to get back in there.
Get back in the hunt,
Because you know what, on the 22nd they play Chelsea. If they stay 6th of Chelsea, can beat Chelsea. Suddenly it's 3 points.
Well, I think Spurs are a nice bet to get top four.
Arsenal, Man City. I agree with Steve. Man City have got the players to go past their defence and quickly. Having said that, Arsenal have got Pepe scoring again. Aubameyang.
Ozil will be trying for his life.
He's a good player.
Paul, for like 70 minutes, West Ham were in the game 1-0 up, and they had like a bad 15 minutes where Arsenal tore them to shreds. But I think there's plenty of goals. This will be 3-4. Plenty of goals in this. Man City have a go. Man City all day, 4-10.
Crystal Palace just drawing a few games and dropping down the log a bit.
I was really impressed with Brighton last week. They made the changes. This is a derby. I didn't know it was a derby because it's quite a... Apparently, when Alan Mullery left Crystal Palace to go to Brighton, it's...
if you work it out, Budge, I've been down to the Brighton Stadium, Amex or something. It's 45 minutes, so it must be 55, 60 minutes from Crystal Palace down the highway to Brighton. Brighton's a lovely area. But you would have thought Brighton would have been on the coastline. It's on the sea.
Well, you'd think
so you've got Southampton, and Portsmouth, Bournemouth. They're all down there. I would have thought they were derbies.
Apparently, it's between the fans. It's Alan Mullery left years ago, and it's become quite a bitter rivalry between the two. But, I like Brighton, but Crystal Palace have got players. But draw would be my bet in there, Paul.
Okay, no, let's go and have a look at the championship fixtures.
I'm worried for Lee Boyer at Charlton. They haven't won in 9. This game hopefully will be on. Hull City have they got beat by Leeds in midweek. 12-10. I wouldn't be taking 12-10 Hull City, even though I think they will win, Paul.
Birmingham City, West Brom.
Well, it's lunchtime. This will be on. This is the second city derby, as they call it.
Well, what are Birmingham like?
Birmingham, they got beat by QPR last night 2-0. Have a go at home, but West Brom, everything just seems to be falling. Now, last night, the goalkeeper of Wigan was having a sip of water.
Yes.
Turned his back, the centre half passed it back to him. He picked the ball up in the small box. Indirect free kick, West Brom equalised, or West Brom scored. So everything seems to be going for West Brom. Both teams to scores even money.
You want to shoot your keeper.
Oh, no, the poor manager was distraught afterwards. But it should be West Brom, Paul. Good team.
Barnsley, QPR.
Well, Barnsley, they've got a new German coach. Gerard Struber.
They need him. They need
Struber. They've won one, drawn one, and lost one.
They're 24th.
QPR won their last 2, Paul. They beat Preston easily. They beat Birmingham. So 14-10 for me, Paul. I like QPR, but goals is my play in that game.
Fulham, they're going to have to turn it on.
This is make or break for them.
Make or break for them. I agree. Even though it's early, Brentford are not a bad side.
Yeah, not a bad side, especially at home. But our guy Makoto, he's playing in the team. He's playing well. I like Fulham. Some of these big teams, when it's last chance saloon, they always seem to get a result. I don't see Fulham getting beat there, Paul. Really, it's 7-10. Fulham in the draw for me there.
Okay, Bristol City, Blackburn.
Well, Blackburn, they
Bristol
drew at
City
Swansea last
eh?
night. Bristol City are 4th. They got beaten midweek at home by Millwall. I can't catch Bristol City, Paul. Every time I've gone for them, they've buried me. I think there'll be goals in that game, Paul. 5-2, the draw would be my play there.
Derby County 16, Millwall 13.
5 wins, 2 draws at home. They got a lucky penalty last night, otherwise they'd have got beat. But Millwall were unbeaten in 6 under Gary Wright. Likewise, a draw player, but Derby don't get beat. I think it's Pride Park now. Win and draw for me, Derby County.
Leeds too strong for Cardiff? 1-3 short.
Cardiff got beat last night. Leeds 1-3. Should be all day. But they don't score many goals at home. A lot of goals they score has been late. But that's 11 points clear. Got to fancy them.
Not Forest Sheffield Wednesday?
I've always been on the Forest bandline, but they've only won one of the last 5. disappointing. Steve said too many late goals. They conceded late in the last couple of games. Sheffield Wednesday under Gary Monk, they've come well, but away from home, they've struggled. So draw and Forest for me there, Paul.
Your beloved Preston at 6th.
Paul, if you can't beat Luton, I think they lost the last 7 games away from home. You got the best home record in the league. If we can't beat them, 7-10 all day, Paul.
Okay. Stoke City.
Yeah, I like Stoke City. They're slowly coming. Ryan Shawcross, he came back, but he pulled a hammy after I think it was 16 minutes. So he's injured again. Michael O'Neill, the Northern Ireland manager's in charge. I think they'll beat Reading.
Okay. Swansea City, Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough, they sneaked a point at I think it was at Notts Forest during the week. Away from home, they're terrible. It should be Swansea, Paul, even though their home record isn't great. I watched them play against Fulham, and they were the better team. They got beat 2-1,
I remember
but they were the better team.
I remember watching them.
If they take the chances, they should win.
Okay, and Wigan and Huddersfield?
Well, Wigan haven't won in 9.
But they're at home.
They're at home. I think they've taken 1 point from the last 4 home league games. But, Huddersfield, a funny draw. I think 22-10, the draws are better in that game, Paul.
All right, let's talk about the Telkom knockout final. Maritzburg United, Mamelodi Sundowns, everything points to Sundowns.
Yeah, they played last night. They won 3-1, but he changed his whole team.
I think Sundowns?
Sundowns. There was 1-1. The player got sent off for Stellenbosch. They scored too late. Paul, I just worry about the weather. The downpour. Mozambique should be able to take it, but if the weather continues, this could become a lottery.
Yes.
But Sundowns are the better team.
Yes.
They played earlier in the year, and Sundowns won 2-1 at home. But I've been impressed with Maritzburg United. They beat Wits on penalties. They beat Chiefs fair and square. Maybe their name's on the cup. I hope for Eric
4 million for first.
4 million for first. What a great prize. And 1.5 for second. So a great pickup. Hopefully the players get a share of that, Joe.
Yeah, well, they will. They'll definitely get a share. I don't know how much. So, but let's look at the soccer pools, Soccer 6.
Yeah, well, you kick off with the English Championship one. I've gone Fulham to keep Stevie happy, but I think they'll get that. I don't see them getting beat at Brentford. Fulham win and draw. I've gone Bristol City win and draw at home against Blackburn. I've sided with Derby County at home against Millwall, win and draw. I've banked Leeds United at home. They look good things. I've gone Nottingham Forest win and draw at home against Sheffield Wednesday, and I've gone for Huddersfield at Wigan. Huddersfield in the draw, 192.
Maybe the draw can save you. Okay, the next one?
Yeah, it's the English one. I've gone the field in the Burnley-Newcastle game. I think Chelsea will be too good for Bournemouth. I think Leicester will be too good for Norwich. I like Sheffield United win and draw at home against Aston Villa. I think Sundowns, I've thrown the draw in because I just think tight in the cup final. And I've gone the field in the Southampton-West Ham game, 2-1-6.
Okay, let's go to the 10.
Yeah, on to the 10. I've gone the field in the Burnley versus Newcastle fixture. I've banked Chelsea to beat Bournemouth and Leicester to beat Norwich. I've gone Sheffield United win and draw at home against Aston Villa. I've gone for Fulham not to get beat at Brentford. Second page, I've gone Bristol City win and draw at home against Blackburn. Likewise, Derby County win and draw at home against Millwall. I think Leeds will be too good for Cardiff. I had to find another banker, so I've banked Sundowns to beat Maritzburg United, and I've gone the field in the Southampton-West Ham game, 288.
Okie dokie, the big one.
On the big one, I've gone Newcastle win and draw at Burnley. I've gone Chelsea to beat Bournemouth, Leicester to beat Norwich. I've gone Sheffield United win and draw at home against Aston Villa, as well as Southampton win and draw at home against West Ham. I've gone Fulham win and draw at Brentford. I've gone Bristol City win and draw at home against Blackburn. Second page, I've gone Notts Forest win and draw at home against Sheffield Wednesday. I've banked Leeds to beat Cardiff. I've gone Derby County win and draw at home against Millwall. I've banked Stoke City to beat Reading. I had to find another banker, so I'm chancing Swansea City to win at home against Middlesbrough, and I like Huddersfield win and draw at Wigan, 435.
Okay, Budge, let's go and have a look at your best bets. This is interesting. Tell me your thinking here.
Yeah, on to the Premiership. I think Man United will beat Everton, and I really think Tottenham will win at Wolves. I've gone Leicester to beat Norwich City at home, and I've gone both teams to score. I think this has got 3-1, 4-1 written all over it.
Who's which game is that?
That's Leicester to beat Norwich. I think Norwich will
West Ham to win or draw.
And West Ham to win or draw at Southampton. I just got a feeling, Paul, I think that's got a draw written all over it. As far as our goals, I've gone over 2.5 goals in the Sheffield United Aston Villa and Man United Everton games, and I've gone over 3.5 in Leicester Norwich and Arsenal Man City.
Okay.
13-1, 2-6 to 200.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, the next one, Budge.
On to the Championship. I think Stoke will win at home against Reading. I think Preston will beat Luton and over 2.5 total goals. And I've gone Fulham and Huddersfield to win or draw. Fulham at Brentford and Huddersfield Town at Wigan Athletic, 2,300 to 200. On to our both teams to score sides. I've gone Birmingham West Brom, Barnsley QPR, Bristol City Blackburn, Derby Millwall, and Swansea Middlesbrough, 2,600 to 200.
Okay.
On to our Spanish omelette. I think Alaves will win on Friday against Leganes, and I think Getafe will beat Real Valladolid on Sunday. I've gone Athletic Bilbao to beat Eibar and over 1.5 goals, and I've gone over 2.5 goals in the Granada Levante game, 3,600 to 200.
Okay, the Collis King.
Collis King 6 on XA. I think Leicester will beat Norwich. I think Man United will beat Everton. I fancy Tottenham to beat Wolves, Preston to beat Luton Town, Juventus to beat Udinese, and Athletic Bilbao to beat Eibar. 17.5 to 1, so 3,500 to 200.
All right, Budge, the best bet. I like your best bet this week.
Well, I'm hoping, Paul. I just fancy Tottenham. I've watched Wolves lately. I think that pace that Spurs have got up front, I think they'll score 3 or 4 goals again. You know, they were very sluggish against Brighton. And Spurs' front four, Mourinho's just got to sort it out at the back. That Jimenez is a problem. But I just think Spurs will be too good for them, Paul. I was going to go for Stoke City, but, you know, win one game. You know, Reading Championship tough, but I fancy...
Okay, and then your value bet?
Yeah, my value bet is Alaves, Paul. They're 17 to 10 at home. I can't believe the price. I watched them 2 weeks ago when I backed Real Madrid to beat them at home. They should have beat Real Madrid. At home, they're a fortress. They're playing a team. They're playing Leganes. The last 5 away games, they've lost 4 and drawn 1. Paul, 17 to 10. I can't believe the price.
Good, very good price. Right, don't forget, there's 10 of you left and the last one standing for that overseas trip to go and watch your football team. I wish you all the best of luck. And I know most of the guys in it, Budge, Power's got to be favourite.
Power's favourite with 2 picks,
2 picks. All right. Until next time, stay on side.